G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report. Look, we're about 12 to 27 degrees here at the moment. Today's a bit overcast, and through the night last night there was quite a heavy shower, left puddles, but yeah, not much in the way of rainfall, but it's cooled the place down, which, look, it's a pretty good time this time of year. Not too hot in Bundaberg, but we did have a couple of nice sunny days, and it's time to start chopping wood for the heater. So yesterday there was a old dead tree over in the bush behind the shed here, and had my eye on it for that, so I snigged it out with the John Deere 1640 and chopped it up, and yeah, I had the kids helping, splitting a bit of firewood, but that didn't last long. But I took a whole bucket load, a tractor bucket load up to the house for the pool room, and I've still got some out the front here, which I'll show you when we do our walk around later. It's splitting pretty easy. It's a nice red hardwood. Yeah, the tree's been dead for some time, and I was going to drop it with the chainsaw, but nature had its way and it just fell over anyway. So I was lucky enough that it fell over and it didn't hit the ground. It fell over and another tree caught it. And you know that can be a bit dangerous, but with the front end loader, I could actually hook onto the root end and just slowly lower it to the ground until I could lift it clean, so it didn't have all the heap of sand and dirt and that to bugger up the chainsaw chain. So I've got that tree out and done. I usually bring it around in front of the shed here to chop it up. It's nice short grass, so I can see and I can pick up the bits and pieces and the little splinters and all that. The kindling, we can get all that out of there. So we've got the pool room up the front where we have the fireplaces full of wood, and this coming weekend, I've got no idea what the bloody date is, probably the 11th or something like that, 9th or 10th of May. God, that's bad, isn't it? And we're going to Mundubra show with a little hay baler. So we normally have a little King's fire pit with a base on it that we put on the ground. But as it gets cooler, we like to take a pig. And for those who don't know what a pig is, look up Ozpig, O-Z-P-I-G. Australian made thing, but I made my own out of a gas bottle, and it's a gas bottle up off the ground with 4 legs. And the first rally I took it to, a couple of my mates put a couple of blue nuts under it. They reckon it was that cold, and I've left them there over the years. And we were looking through the other day, and it's been about 12 years, 13 years or something like that I've had the pig. And I've got where the muffler goes up, I've got a bit of 2.5 inch exhaust pipe with I put a little choke there so we can, yeah, just adjust the draft and that. So we're going to take that to Mundubra. The reason we do that is because the heat's up high, and if you've got to sit around it a bit, the heat's up at body height, not just down foot height, and the smoke goes up away from you because it's up higher, and there's a barbie plate on the top, and we can put saucepans on there, and they're very economical on wood, and quite often we just stoke it up and sit around it for an hour or so, then go to bed, and next morning it's just fan it a little bit with a few bits of kindling, and away she goes. So that's this weekend. It's Tuesday now, so Thursday we've got to be out and over there, and Kempies are going to meet us over there with the fencing Thursday evening, and we'll put up a little compound and work with that. Then the weekend after, I think it's about the 17th or something like that, the Vintage Car Club in town has their Heritage Day. And it's at the Agro Trend ground, the same ground where we're having our rally. And look, it's a good show. It's only a one-day one, but we're allowed in Friday to help set up, so we'll do that. And yeah, we'll go from there. That'll be a good display. I'll take a camera and have a bit of a walk around. We did last year. And we usually have a compound there with engines and that in it, and yeah, we can have 8 or 10 tractors behind them somehow. So, and that sort of works out okay as well. So yeah, busy. We had the club meeting last Sunday, and we got a lot of stuff sorted out for the rally. So if you would like a rally, an exhibitor's form, email me please at bundybearsshed@gmail.com, and I'll send one anywhere around Australia for you. We just finalised them this morning. We got word that the heavy horse Steve with his heavy horses in town. He's coming to have a display of Clydesdales. We've organised with the council for a place to plough now. So if you'd like to come and you have a plough behind your tractor, you can actually have a bit of a scratch in the dirt. We have to leave it nice and flat. My mate Paul, he does that with his TE20, but his hydraulics are pretty weak at the moment. So between now and then, I've told him we'll grab his tractor here and we'll fix his hydraulics and get him going for the rally. So, but look, a lot of stuff happened with the rally this week. Yeah, we had meetings with the council. We can offer free camping for exhibitors for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights. If you want to come camping at the rally, as an exhibitor, we're not just having the public, we're not allowed to do that. It's just as an exhibitor. We can offer you power for your caravan or camper for the weekend for $10, which goes to the council. And like I said, we've got the heavy horses there, we've got the fences all sorted out. We do have a bit of organising to do. We've just sent things out for trade stalls. Now, if you have a trade stall and you'd like to, or even if you don't, you know someone, email me and I'll get you a trade stall application. And it's just simple. You just buy a bit of ground and knock yourself out, really. And you can camp on site if you choose to and things like that. We've got buses going to the Sugarland Tavern. We're hoping, one wood-fired pizza person knocked us back because they were booked, but we're trying for the other one to have wood-fired pizzas near the bar so you can have a beer and a wood-fired pizza as well. So anyway, we'll see, but there's been a lot of work into that. And look, it's after midday on Tuesday. Yesterday was a public holiday and I run over to the club shed to drop off some fencing and pick up some fire extinguishers and things like that for this weekend. But this morning, just doing rally stuff and adjusting the forms to be sent out to reflect what we discussed at the meeting the other day. Yeah, it's lunchtime and I'm only just getting to the shed for the day. So anyway, that's all right, I suppose. It's just one of those things. Yeah, you get busy. And the treasurer dropped all the stuff off. The treasurer and his missus, they're having a holiday in West Australia for, look, I think something like 3 months, 2.5, 3 months, something like that. So they've dropped everything off. And Alan, the secretary, he's going away. His missus is crook, having surgery, so he's going away. So I'll be on old Pat Malone for a while. That's all right. Donna, one of our members, she's offered to help, and yeah, which I'm grateful for. And so yeah, I just got to push along while everyone else is busy. I just got to keep pushing along at home here, and yeah, just try and fill all the gaps if I can. So that'll work. Plenty to do, which is good. But yeah, it's taken a day, nearly 2 days a week now, just buggering around, organising and just changing forms and checking measurements and talking to people that can come and people that can't come and sorting all that out. So originally I was going to offer, because the council was making us pay, I was going to offer a bit of camping at home here. But now that we can sort it out in there, it's free camping in there, well, yeah, everyone can camp at the Agro-Trend grounds. Like I say, there's courtesy buses going into the pub. There's a bar, and that's Saturday night. We're going to have a complimentary barbecue on the Friday afternoon to get everyone together and have a chat and have a yarn. Then the club's decided to put on a Saturday and Sunday morning brekkie rolls, you know, bacon and eggs in a roll and a tea or coffee or a Coke or something like that for $10. So we're trying to just cater for people that are just camping at rough. Oh shit, camping rough in the ute. That was Sansa walking across an old sheet of tin. Near crapped myself. But anyway, on last week or so, John Aitchinson brought to my attention that there's a YouTube channel, Bruce from Oz. He did a walk around Roy Redoux's Massey Ferguson tractor collection. Pop over to Bruce from Oz as YouTube channel. It's a good thing, goes for about an hour, but it's showing old Roy's collection. Roy's a nice bloke, just a good old fella, but he's got great knowledge of Fergie tractors and things like that. I did a video on his show there when he got them all out, just a bit of a walk around, but yeah, Roy's a nice bloke, and he's he's explaining where he got his tractors and that. So Bruce from Oz, have a look for that. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description, but I'm notoriously shit at remembering. And so, here we go. Here's this bloody noisy dog. I'm going to get a quiet dog next time. Yeah, get a bloody quiet one. Yeah. And through the week, after we come back from Monto's show, I was telling you that my United engine, like usually you just wave the crank handle near it and it'd go, and it stopped, and I was looking for what was going wrong with it. And I did a little bit of a clip through the week on looking at the igniter. I thought it might have been the igniter, because the igniter is a little set of points that opens and closes. There's a little, this is an igniter off an International Harvester engine, and you can see a little set of points there. And as the little push rod comes and pushes against this here, the points remain open, and as it pushes past, it closes the points momentarily, then bounces off. And the points are open so your battery doesn't go flat if you have a battery. But what can happen if you run it too rich, you can get carbon build up in the points here, and sometimes the carbon gets a bit much. And but I thought it might have been the igniter playing up. Hey, what are you hanging around for? And so I showed a quick look at that, which I'll pop in here if I've done it properly. And it turned out not to be that. I pulled the generator off. Now they have a thing that looks like a magneto. Everyone calls it a magneto, but it's actually a DC generator. Or it's a generator. And I pulled that apart, and I thought I'd have a look. And on the end of them, this is just the body. This is just the body of an International Harvester one. There's a little oil cap at each end, and I thought, usually before I run the engine, I'd put a drop of oil in each end, and perhaps through the day at lunchtime, half time, after 4 or 5 hours use, I'd put another couple of drops in, and away we'd go. And anyway, when I cleaned the igniter up, I could actually, you can run the wire through the low tension side of a car coil and through, so you don't get full arcing on your points, and hook it to a battery. And I could run the engine perfectly like that, but as soon as I hooked it up to the original Maggie or the generator, it wouldn't work. So I stripped it down, and it turns out I've been over oiling it. And I pulled it apart. Well, the oil inside that thing, you wouldn't believe. But so I got the CRC brake cleaner out and cleaned it all up, and just put a little bit of oil on the shaft to get it going, and put it back together. And I thought at the time, well, I may as well remagnetise it if I could. So I banged it on the remagnetiser here. You can see that just there. And yeah, look, that fixed it. It's just a flick of the handle now, and away she goes. And anyway, I do get waylaid, and I have an attention span like a bloody goldfish. And anyway, I had a 3 horsepower International M, which is about a 1920-21 engine, I believe, maybe. And it's an igniter engine as well. And last time I was using it, I couldn't get it to run without the coil. You know, the generator wasn't strong enough to start it on its own. So I grabbed that, and I thought, right, I'll pull that apart while I'm on a roll, and I remagnetised it, and I've put it back on the engine. And now I can wind him up. You've got to wind him fairly fast, that one, to get it going. And it had no pulley on the crankshaft side, on the off side of the crankshaft, to run a belt if I wanted to use it as a spare to run the baler. So I had an engine up in the pallet racking, a 3 horse International M. That didn't have a low tension generator. It was an intermediate engine. They went to a Bosch magneto for a while, and then they went to the big square Wico EK magneto. So this is a Bosch one. It's the interim one, and I had it up the top with a chaff cutter up there, and a couple of old Samson pumps, you know, the old hand pumps, bilge pumps, and it had the pulley that I wanted for the 3 horsepower on it. So I cleared all that end of the shed up, did a big tidy up, got all the massy parts out of the way, and got the pallet down, got the engine off, put it on some stands out the front there, and it wouldn't turn. It was a bit seized. But I had it in my mind that it should have turned, so I got the pulley off, had to get the inox, the inox penetrate. Yeah, I had to punch the bloody screw, couldn't get it, so I put penetrate on it. I put some on early, and it didn't seem to work early, but I bathed it in penetrate, CRC penetrate, before I went to bed in the evening, and yeah, went up, and then next morning I come down and give it a bit of a hit, banged a socket on the end, and the bloody thing just come undone. So I think it works well, that stuff. So I got that pulley off, got it sandblasted, and it's on that 3 horsepower engine now. So I have a spare engine. If the United plays up, or I need to go somewhere, I can put this other engine on. But and one thing leads to another. So up in the corner of the shed there, which is no man's land, under the pallet racking, I knew I had a little 1.5 horsepower International M igniter, once more, generator, igniter points and all that. Because I have the castings for 2 carts, I thought, well, right, I've got the 3 horsepower going now. If I get the little 1.5 out and get it going, when I'm building carts, they both have the same cart. So I have all the castings and all that for the cart, but the wheels will have to be different because I only have 1 set of cast wheels. So I thought, well, if I get that going, that might work. So I got that out, and it still turns over nicely, but it needed a few things doing to it. I'd borrowed a pipe off it for something one time, and back years ago I pulled the generator off and lent it to a fella for a show, and his wasn't running, and he said, oh, can I borrow that generator off yours to get mine going, just for that weekend? And I said, yeah, all right. So I took it off and gave it to him. And anyway, a month or 2 went by, and I rattled his chain. I said, we got that thing back? Oh, yeah, hang on, I'll go and get it. And he gave it to me, and I had a look at it, and I said, that's not the one I gave you. Oh, well, no, we left that one you gave us on the engine because it was running so good, and we didn't want to retime it, but that's a good one, that'll be okay. And I thought, you're bloody joking. But anyway, I let it pass at the time. I kicked up a bit, but then I let it pass, and I just left that engine then. I had the shits with it a bit, and I left that engine then. So what I've had to do now is get that generator that they supplied, and I've gone right through it and got it going. And look, I think it's going pretty well. I haven't got it on the engine yet. I've got it at the other end, but I've had to make new bolts for it, and a lot of the housing bolts in the bottom of the magneto, they're made of that zinc pot metal, it's just muck metal, and the threads are always rotting out on those. So I've helicoiled the whole lot, and where the strap goes on, all I had here was little stainless steel Allen heads bolts, so I've used them on it. So I've got that up there. I believe I've just got to put petrol in it, time it, and put that generator on, and that engine will be going. And then when I get to finishing machining the carts there, well, I can just do things in pairs, which will help, with time and things like that. No time on the pump over the weekend. There was just, trying to get the engine going so I could have it going for this show. I've got to load it up a bit later. Oh, well, probably in the morning if it's fine. And so I had to make sure I was right to go to the shows. So I had to drop the pump just for a little bit. And anyway, this engine that I got from the top, that I got the pulley off, I'd oiled it all up, and I was getting ready to put it back up on the stand there, and I thought, I'm sure this bloody thing turned. And I'd oiled it all up and, put oil and CRC penetrate around it and all that. And so yesterday morning I thought, I'll just get a bar on the flywheel and just see, and I'd give it a rock just to see. Well, bugger me, it's come nice and free. And so I probably should do it up. It's got compression, and the funny thing is that the inlet valve's stuck, and it must be stuck shut. The exhaust valve's moving, the fuel pump, all the cam, everything's moving like it should, which on an engine that's stuck, you've got to be very careful, because when you turn it or force it, the piston and the conrod might turn freely, the flywheel might turn, but if you've got a seized fuel pump or something like that, you can quickly break something off on it. So I had to make sure everything looked like it was moving, but it is now. I've got it out the front. I've got a shower of rain on it overnight, but that's fine. I'll oil it up and bring it in shortly. And whilst I was getting that little 1.5 out, there was another little 1.5 that I forgot I had over under the pallet racking, and it's a little 1.5 horse International M that has the square Wicco flick magneto. It's just it flicks and it just drops and gives a current. Quite a common magneto, but it's a Wicco EK, and I do have one here for it. And I got that engine out, and I took it out the back and pressure cleaned it, and I've just oiled it all up and brought it inside yesterday, and it turns over nicely too. So I don't know. We'll just see how far I get with all that. I do have other stuff I need to do, but yeah, if I can get this other little 1.5 M going, that'll probably do us for a while, and I'm very close to that. I expect maybe to do that today, and if I do, it'll be on the tag on video in the end here. I'll take a quick video of that. But yeah, starting to fix my United, then I ended up fixing the 3 horsepower because that was similar jobs. And on the little 1.5, I had to make a fuel return line and add a brass pipe. And it pays to be a hoarder because in my hydraulics drawer, those little olives and all that, I had enough to make the pipe. So, arsey Lance. And so if I get that going, that'll give me a little 1.5 engine to run the baler or run the pump here. And instead of having to take the baler everywhere, which is all I've got to put on an engine at the moment, apart from just turn up with a couple of engines and have them running, driving nothing, I'll get back onto that pump shortly. And yeah, I've got some more wheels to make and things like that yet. But anyway, that's fine. And I did enjoy doing that for a change, a bit of a change of pace. But while I'm going with that, one of the magnetos, I might be able to show you. Down inside there, you can see the brass washer. Yeah, you can see that. And on where the armature goes, it has a little brush, like in the centre of your distributor cap on your Fergie. It has a little brush that goes on there, and it has another little brush that comes down on the stator ring at the end here. And this other magneto that I had here, I was always looking at that, and up the end, oh look, I don't think you're going to be able to see that, but you notice it's got no washer, and it's got a big burn mark in the back of the housing here, where it's been assembled without that washer. So someone's had that apart at one stage, and they've put it all together and got rid of it as working, and it never worked, it couldn't have. So I've got 2 to go. I've got one of those has to go on the 6 horse. I've got a 6 horsepower International M on the proper horse-drawn cart, and yeah, one of them has to go for that. Then, so I really only need one, and I do have a Bosch magneto over the other side for that other 3 horse. So anyway, how far I go with that, I don't know. I did the engines that I knew I could get running easily. I was feeling a bit guilty because I'd had them sitting over the back there for so long and hadn't turned them and hadn't done a thing with them for quite a few years probably. And so yeah, I just like to get them up and running, and then yeah, I'll work on a cart for them so I can actually take them to shows when we want to go camping at shows. And but at the tractor show, the Heritage Rally in town here, I'll take the 135 in there. And last time I took the 135 with a trailer on the back, and I had engines on the trailer. So perhaps I'll do that again, I don't know. We'll just see how I feel about it all, yeah. We'll go with that. But yeah, with doing all the club stuff and getting these little engines going and things like that, well, yeah, the week just disappeared because yeah, we didn't get back from Monto until last Monday evening. And then Tuesday we had the meetings with the council, and they went very well actually. The council's got a barbecue trailer that we can have to do our barbecues with. We're getting grandstands for the grand parade, for the tractor pull and other events going on. So yeah, it worked really well. So it's all on track. But in the shed here, yeah, I've done bugger all in the bloody shed apart from getting these little things going that I wanted to get going just to have them running, yeah. I've shifted the TE20 over to where that little Farmall A was, and I've moved the Ford 2000 back so I can clear the hoist area. The camper trailer, it's on the hoist at the moment. It had, when the brakes come on the trailer, you could feel it just pull the arse of the ute just a tad. So I've jacked it up, I've got it on the hoist and I've redone all the brake adjustments on it. We've washed it, Judy polished it. There was where I put the big heavy fridge wires through, I put a big hunk of 1-inch poly pipe through as insulation for that, so it can't rub through because there's quite a little rough part on the chassis. And when they built the camper back in 2019, I think it might have been, 1920, when they put the back tank up, I saw a wire hanging down and I thought, oh, I'll just tidy all this up. And what had happened is where the water tank is at the back, there's a little cutout in the chassis rail there for the wire to come out. Well, I'd missed it and they'd clamped the wire, but it was still working, so I had to drop the water tank and move that forward and bolt it all up again. So before we go away this weekend, I'll fill the tanks, and the batteries are good. Like the lithium batteries are in good nick and they're holding. I haven't got it plugged into power or anything, they're just holding. But I mean, they're in standby mode. That's a good thing. I've got to put my push bike on and get it ready to go. We'll put our ports in the back of the ute this time, I think, instead of in the camper. As soon as we get there, we can open the camper and do the other, so that'll work all right too. So yeah, being Tuesday today, I've got tomorrow I've got to be packed. Thursday morning we're heading out and Adele's coming to take over again. And we'll go to Mundubbera for a couple of days and have a bit of fun at the show there and bug around, do a bit of camping. And I bought a few beers and a few bottles of wine. Pepper Jack, Cab Sav. Pepper Jack, Cab Sav, bloody beautiful drop. So I've got a couple of bottles of that tucked away, seeing as it's getting cool. And we look forward to a good weekend there. But anyway. But look, that's about all I got going on. It's been a nice relaxing week really, apart from some of the club stuff's been a bit full on, but that's I knew that when I took the job on, and there seems to be a good feel in the club at the moment. Just at the meetings they're a bit more jovial, and there just seems to be a good feel, which is nice. Hopefully we're heading in the right direction, and we'll get our rally going, and hopefully our biggest thing with the rally is getting it out there that we're having it so we can get public through the gate. That's how we're going to make some money through the gate. So look, we'll just see how we go. Hopefully we'll go good, but Donna's offered to do the Facebook page marketing for us, and we're going to go around to members' places and take photos of them getting ready and really push it along. Okay, I'd like to bring to your attention the tidiness of the shed. Bloody beautiful. The old 65 here thinks I don't love it anymore. I'll get back to it. I just got to get these other things out of my system. And the little grey Fergie that we did the video on, it's just up here. I'll get it ready. Now we have a bit of land for ploughing at the rally. I'm still putting the original seat on. I was looking for a plate. Now Queensland Tractor Spares sells a plate that they get from America. It's a top and bottom plate with rivet holes in for fixing the Fergie seats. The part number's ABC 372. Now, I knew I had one for the original seat, and you think I could find the bloody thing? But anyway, on my clean out the other day I found one. So look, it's just another job. And the Ford's over there, so I can fit the mower there. The camper trailer, it's up on the hoist, so that's a good thing. That's all done now. There's nothing more to do to the camper up there. Just pack it to go away. The bench here is not too bad. There's my old magnetiser. Look at the buddy. That was when the phone number in Sydney was YL692, 8 it might have been, So that seems to work well with a car battery, 12 volt. You can run a 12 or a 6 volt battery. I run a 12 because that's what I have. So I've just got a little thing here where I'm doing helicoils and tidying up the housings. That's a nice job to do. CRC sent me some of this gel tack, synthetic adhesive lubricant. Google that. What we're going to use this for is with the little stationary engines, with the open cranks, you know how you have the gears there and you put a bit of oil on the gears and it flicks out. Well, this is supposed to stick to things and not wash off so much. So we're going to try that on the United this weekend. I gave it a bath the other day, so we're going to try that. I've got a heap of little castings on the house, on the mill there to sort out. Through here is still pretty good. Like I say, I didn't do anything to the pump. I made a couple of club signs over the week and for the gates, and on V-carve you can set the tool using a 60-degree tool. You can set it to cut out the font and give you a flat bottom. Well, I don't know what I've adjusted, but I haven't got a flat bottom anymore, so we've got to work that out. But if we look at the little United here, that's the one I run the baler with, 1917. This one here, that's the 3-horse M that I redid the generator on, and that's where it sits in there. And then it comes round here to a set of points there. And when we come around, this is the 1.5 that I had running years ago that I lent the magneto off and come back wrong. Now on the International M, there's a little water hopper extension, and I got one of them cast up years ago, and I was showing a bloke the other day and he said, "Oh, have you got the clamp to hold that in place?" Well, I never knew there was a clamp, but anyway, over the time I've cleaned this up, I've sandblasted. Back in the day I cleaned the carby up, it was terrible. So, and I sort of wish I didn't clean it so much now and just left it as is, but not to worry. But the igniter's there. I do have to put fuel in that yet, and the other benefit of this engine is it has a pulley there. So if I have this engine, the 3-horse and the United with a pulley, that gives me options. This little engine here, now if you buy and sell a bit of stuff over the years, you know, I can tell you where I got this engine and that engine and all that. And this engine here, I don't have a bloody clue where I got it from. It's been under the pallet rack in there for years. It was restored at one stage, but yeah, she goes over okay. That's a little 1.5 horsepower, and it has with the 2 bolts at the side there, that's where your Wicco magneto, and there's your Wicco trip there. So I'll oil all that up and make sure it doesn't seize sitting around, but look, I may get to that and do that. And then while we're on International M engines, the club has one up there as well, and I'm thinking of bringing that home and sorting it out for them. But this is the 3-horse, and this is a 3-horse spark plug engine. It's got the 3 holes in the carb for, you know, starting gasoline, power kerosene and water to stop the pinging. That all needs fixing. Like it's in no means in good nick. But this here doesn't have a generator. That has a Bosch high tension magneto. So, and yeah, I've got that. So it's coming back on compression. So that's going to get put back in out of the weather this morning, and it's a story for another day. It needs a lot doing, but that's fine. That's part of the hobby, isn't it? Then while I'm skiting about how nice my bloody shed is, I've had to shift the 135 over. Oh, bloody dark in this corner. And I've cleaned all this area out here and reorganised the tractor parts that were spread out over here. And yeah, I'll probably fit the Massey 20 and the Slasher in this area here where the forklift is. And it's still a big mess. That's where I'm making signs there, but there's still quite a mess through here. But I think I'll move the Johnny across and I'll keep on going and get that bit clean too. So there you go. So that's it. Now you know as much as I do. The paddock's looking good. The skies are a bit grey, so if you live in the UK or Ireland, you'll be feeling right at home looking at this. Yeah, the ute's all washed. Isn't it funny how when you wash a car it seems to run nicer? It's got nothing to do with it, but it just seems to. And yeah, the Massey 20 over there near the container, I need to give it a good wash the Slasher. It's still got a bit of grass on it, and bring it inside. So I'll do that. And this is, I got the old Johnny going, and this is where I've been cutting wood and splitting wood, and that's a young man's job too. I start cracking away, getting all proud of myself. Next minute I've got to go and sit down because I'm huffing and puffing. I've got no idea what goes on there. Might be time for a mechanical splitter, eh? Anyway, we'll see. All right, catch you next week, eh? See ya.